Walkers. Yeah, that's pretty much this episode. First off, you're probably going to notice something new. I am going to put annotations in the video because I find that these videos, for one thing, they tend to go on for quite a while at times. And some people might just be interested in hearing what I think of one specific thing in an episode. So if you just want to skip around, just hear, oh, what does he think of this? I'm going to have an annotation saying skip here if you want this, skip here if you want that. So don't worry. But anyway, this is Hardhome. And this episode diverged a lot from the books in so many ways, like to a point where, sometimes it's just a wonder, is it even worth comparing it to the books? Which, on one end, most of the changes here I'm happy with. I mean, they're really well done scenes, and honestly, it creates a bit of tension because, it kind of puts book viewers in this uncomfortable situation where you really don't know where they're going with it. I mean, I can kind of guess, okay, where they're going with it, but at the same time, I have no clue, and I'm not going to ruin book spoilers until the end, so if you just want to hear what I think of this stuff and not know what happens yet in the books, don't worry, I'm going to give you guys a chance to bail out. And by that I mean I'm going to talk about everything generally, and then I'll go into book spoilers at the end. So, we're going to start with Arya's story, which, again, was alright. I mean, it wasn't anything special. I'm glad she's finally moving around in Bravos like in the books. A lot of it just felt like set up for later. And, I mean, knowing where our story goes, it's pretty interesting, but Arya hasn't really done much this season except just walk around and kind of lie. Cersei's story was really well done. I mean, it was really messed up just seeing her just broken in that cell, expecting something good to happen, but, just the fact that she won't confess her sins, it's like she honestly expects to get her way. And really interested to see where they go with that. Winterfell's more interesting because we have Reek revealing that Bran and Rickon are alive, and I'm really curious to see where they go with that because, again, that didn't happen in the books, but I have a feeling it'll be a big deal. And it's very interesting just how broken Reek is, because he's referring to himself in the first person. He's referring to Theon as a completely separate person, and and for a brief moment when he's talking about Bran and Rickon, he kind of has to talk as Theon again, and it was kind of an interesting way of showing him sort of like, for once, be Theon, which I was wondering how they're going to do that, because something similar to this happens in the books where Reek has to temporarily be Theon again, but without an internal monologue, it's a little hard to get that stuff across, so that was a smart way to do it. But yeah, the Boltons are taking the fight to Stannis, and I'm surprised they didn't do the Siege of Winterfell this episode. I thought they were, just knowing what's coming. I thought it would be a bit smarter to place it here, just because I won't ruin what comes up next. But if you read the books, you know a lot of big stuff is going down. It's like there's a lot of big stuff going on in other parts of the world, and you kind of want the Siege of Winterfell to sort of bookend an episode, not be in the middle of it. And so it just seems weird that it seems like they're going to do Siege of Winterfell next week, and in that case it's like weird because there's a lot of... Because I'm not really going to spoil this, but the fighting pits is like a huge scene in the books. I mean, it looks big from the next on, and I feel like that's where they're going to end it next episode. I won't go into detail about what happens in the fighting pits, but the Siege of Winterfell is also really important. I mean, they've been building up to it a lot, so for me, it just feels kind of weird if they're just going to clump it in with Dance of Dragons, which coincidentally is the title of one of the books, and in Winterfell they did work the title in Feast for Crows, to which Sam Simpson would say roll credits, but yeah. Interesting seeing Bolton take the fight to Stannis. I wonder if that's going to cause his downfall or not. I've read the books, but they're taking a very different approach to Winterfell, so I don't know. But yeah, I feel like they would have done the Siege of Winterfell if they hadn't had to make room for that Hardhome scene, which I'll get to that in a bit. I kind of want to save that for the end. So next up, got to talk about Daenerys. That was a huge deal. I mean, those two haven't met in the books yet. Like, Tyrion is still chilling outside the walls of Meereen. So he hasn't even met Daenerys yet. So, I mean, first off, just book reader, I'm like curious, are they making all this stuff up, or is this based off of something that hasn't happened yet? Like, I don't know, but regardless, it was really cool to finally see these two characters meet up. I mean, there's always this interesting, like, whereas George R. R. Martin in his books, he's always tends to like spread the characters out. With the showrunners, they seem to be very much bringing characters together and thinking, what if this character was here? What if this character was there? And this was a great scene. I mean, I love the conversation between them. The two worked off each other really nicely. And having read the books and knowing what happens in Daenerys' story, I'm really curious to see like how Tyrion factors in, because Tyrion hasn't met Daenerys yet, so it'll be interesting to see, like, because in the book Ser Barristane's still alive, like, so I'm wondering, is Tyrion just gonna fill in for Ser Barristan? Like, are they just gonna give Ser Barristan's character to Tyrion, or is Tyrion gonna do something particularly special? I'm really curious to see going forward what they're gonna do. If they're, because the shows, they follow this same main beats as the book, but they get to them differently. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I really hope that this partnership between Tyrion and Daenerys goes somewhere interesting. And Ser Jorah goes back into the fighting pits, like deciding to make them. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna die soon. I might as well make it count. And yeah, this is so Gladiator. But yeah, again, really curious to see where they go, Ser Jorah, because again, Ser Jorah's with Tyrion outside of Meereen, and he doesn't have grayscale in the book, so again, no clue where he's going. I mean, knowing what's coming in Daenerys' story, and you're going to know what I mean next week, I'm really curious to see what will happen to Ser Jorah. Next up is Sam's story. I really don't have much to say on Sam, except it was just a check-in. And just a segue into Jon Snow's story, which, oh my gosh, like, Jon Snow's story, again, first off, if you haven't read the books, this is a complete divergence from the book. Like, not in terms of what happened. I mean, there was, because Jon Snow negotiates with the Wildlings, but first off, he never went that far north. In fact, I don't even think we've seen Hardhome yet in the books. But there is like a moment where a Wildling goes up north and some stuff goes wrong, but not to this extent. I mean, first off, before we even get to that, I mean, the speech Jon Snow was giving, it was a little cliche a bit, but I think it was also really well done and meaningful. Like, it really helped rally the Wildlings, and I do like how his mercy kill from the first episode of the season comes back, and overall is a really good argument. And I mean, and the Wildling attack, that does not happen in the books. This whole bit doesn't happen, but I mean, I was kind of predicting, like, you know, maybe a Wildling or two will show up to protect it, but no, an entire freaking flock of not Wildlings, White Walkers show up, and resulting in a really sick fight scene. That was really well done. Which not only serving as a cool action scene, but also just establishes what everyone's up against and how much of a threat the White Walkers are, why they need to go through with this, and along with being an amazing action scene and establishing threat. It also was really good tension because, again, it wasn't from the books, and just knowing and considering how the show's like not afraid to kill people off past their due, there was like moments when I thought, is Jon Snow gonna die? Is Redbeard? Sorry, I don't remember his name. I should be on top. Like Skullbones. Sorry, I don't remember his name. I should remember his name. I'm gonna put an annotation there in later on because I I just feel guilty not remembering names. Should know his name. But yeah, which there was a lot of tension, which is one thing I love about this show is that it's it it's putting book readers in this interesting perspective where we can kind of take guesses at where they're going with certain things just because we read the books, but at the same time we don't know because like they're constantly throwing all this stuff in us that's making us question things. And you have to combine the fact in there that they're working off material from the unreleased Winds of Winter and the whatever outlines George R. R. Martin has for A Dream of Spring. But yeah, wonderful action scene. My main concern is that they blew a lot of their budget there, so I'm kind of wondering, like, because there's some stuff coming up in the next 2 episodes that they're going to need that budget for, so I'm kind of worried. Did they blow their budget, or is there still room to do the amazing things that are going to happen, which, again, I won't ruin for you. And so yeah, that's it. No Brienne in this episode. She really isn't doing anything this season. I feel like she's probably going to come into play in the Siege of Winterfell, and having read the books, even though Brienne's story is very different, I feel like the ultimate endgame of Brienne's story in Feast for Crows is going to be the same. I won't ruin what it is for those who haven't read the books, but there's a very interesting theory about what's going to happen in Brienne's story, and if you've read the books, you can take a pretty good guess at what that is and where Brienne will go and who or what she'll bump into along her way. But yeah, I won't ruin any of it. So I'm going to get into predictions based on having read the books. So if you haven't read the books, I recommend just getting out right now because I'm going to talk about stuff. Alright, so we have 2 episodes left. So again, last chance. If you haven't read the books, do not watch this. I'm going to get into predictions based on stuff you haven't read. So as we all know, first we're going to start with Daenerys, because next episode is the Dance of Dragons, and seeing next up, it's the fighting pit scene, and first off, I cannot wait to see that. Ever since I read the book and my jaw dropped, I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait for them to do this, and it looks really sick. I mean, the arena looks really grand, and that's what I'm looking forward to, and I really wish I had a friend with me. I really wish I had a friend who hadn't read the books I could watch it with. So I could sit them down and just watch their face when next week comes around. That's assuming they're going to follow through with it, which I'm sure they will. I mean, it's one of the big moments of the books, and I doubt it. But I'm really curious what's going to happen because, again, Tyrion and Ser Jorah weren't there in the books. So I'm wondering, is one of them going to die? I feel like Ser Jorah is going to die, because he's kind of dead already. I really hope Daenerys will fly off. I wonder if Ser Jorah or Tyrion will tag along with him, because it seems, especially Tyrion, because it seems a little weird to establish his relationship with Daenerys and then just have them get separated, although it would just make it tragic, like Daenerys gets a really good advisor and then she loses him. But at the same time, I do feel like Tyrion's just there to fill in for Sebastian. It's like the writers wanted I feel like the writers wanted Tyrion and Daenerys to meet, I don't know if they meet or not in the books, but if they don't meet, maybe the writers this is too good of an opportunity to pass off, so maybe they killed off Ser Barristan so they'd have an excuse to bring in Tyrion, or to create a need for Tyrion. So, which begs the question of whether or not they're going to do the Battle of Meereen this episode, to which I don't think so. I don't think there's enough time. I mean, there's one more episode left, and I mean, unless they do the Siege of Winterfell in the next episode, which those are 2 big moments, I don't know if you want to do the Siege of Winterfell alongside the fighting pits, but at the same time, 10th episode is kind of an epilogue episode, so you kind of want more. You want time to explore the aftermath of episode 10, because it's weird, because the Siege of Winterfell and the fighting pit scene occurs much earlier on in the books, which makes me wonder, is the beginning of season 6 going to be a bit of the end of Dance of Dragons? Because we are at that point right now in season 5 where both stories where Dance of Dragons is caught up with Feast for Crows. So I wonder, because there's only 2 episodes left. But yeah, I'm really interested to see where that goes. I really hope that I really hope that it happens like it does in the books. Dragon shows up, wrecks shit, and Daenerys gets on her. Next up, I'm gonna predict Arya's story. Oh, no, first Arya's story. Looks like it. I feel like at this point they're just gonna combine her face kill, where she kills, with the kill that makes her blind, just simply because, we're very late into Arya's story, and I don't think there's enough time to have her kill kill that one guy, become blind, get the face, and kill another guy. I mean, unless they're gonna end the season with her going blind, do the face thing next season. But yeah, let's see what else do I want to guess. Cersei's story, I feel like we're more or less just gonna end it where it is. And there's going to be the reveal of Varys, which they're setting that up kind of nicely with Tyrion talking. I'm trying to think what else. Siege of Winterfell. It's probably going to happen next episode because they need time to do the aftermath. And I feel like Brienne's finally going to do something. I'm curious how it plays out because I feel like the most of the end results are going to play out. Theon and Sansa are going to escape. Sansa needs to escape her. I mean, they could kill her off, but at the same time, I feel like she's an interesting character, and I don't feel like it would make sense to kill her off yet. Although Stannis, I feel like, is dead, and Melisandre, I mean, they're changing her story to a point where I'm wondering, is she going to die, or is she going to escape? So interesting. I'm predicting Brienne's going to participate in the battle, but she's going to get knocked out and disappear, and then next episode we're going to get the Lady Stoneheart reveal simply because it's called Mother's Mercy. And Lady Stoneheart doesn't really do much in Feast for Crows and Dance with Dragons, and it seems like she's going to play a much bigger role in Winds of Winter, so it makes sense. And the actress who's supposed to play, and Michelle Farley, or however you pronounce her name, I'm pretty sure she's just denying that she's came back to play Lady Stoneheart simply because they don't want people. They want to surprise book readers, and also if she claims she's coming back, then those who haven't read the books are going to be suspicious, and it'll destroy the reveal. But yeah, but in that case, you'd have to, have her get knocked out in episode 9 and have, because I don't know, because if Brienne gets captured in season 9, and meets, we can't meet Lady Stoneheart until the 10th episode, because, again, there's no way you can have the fighting pit scene be the middle. The fighting pit, I'm calling it right now, I've always envisioned, it's the big holy shit what the fuck moment. It is going to occur at the end of episode 9. And Lady Stoneheart reveal that I'm predicting that's going to be the end, although that they're probably also going to do the Varys reveal at the end, which means we're going to get a 2-for-1. So it begs the question, do we reveal Stoneheart first or Varys? I want them to do Lady Stoneheart so bad. But again, this is assuming she plays a big role in Season 6, which I don't know because that Winds of Winter hasn't come out yet. Oh yeah, and I just remembered Jaime didn't appear in this episode. I'm really curious where his story's going because they don't have a lot of time to wrap his story up, and there's a lot going on. And although Dorne's not, looks like next episode we're gonna get the rest of Jaime's story. Although I have no clue where they're going with that since it's very different from the book. And if they're gonna he's gonna meet up with Brienne. They don't exactly have a lot of time to do that since I doubt they're doing it because they're just so far off in separate sections of the world that if they're going to meet up, it's going to have to occur next season. And finally, the Wall. I think at this point, Mance Rayder is not coming back. There's been nothing to foreshadow it. The show. We're pretty much at the Siege of Winterfell, so it's a little too late for him to show up, and also we need to address Jon Snow possibly dying. I feel like he probably is. I thought he was gonna die in the White Walker attack. But it seems like you. Although again, there's a chance he might, but I feel like he's going to die. The show has been doing a lot of stuff to foreshadow Jon Snow's death to a point where I feel like it will. Again, it's just a question of whether it'll happen ninth episode or 10th. I feel like it'll happen 10. There's so many big moments that are coming up. We have the Siege of Winterfell, we have the fighting pits, and then we have two potentials, which are Jon Snow's death, which will likely happen in Lady Stark. So it's like, if you're gonna cram some of this stuff into outside the fighting pits, those are I don't know. There's a lot of stuff they have to cram, so it'll be really interesting to see how they organize it. And yeah, those are my thoughts. So like, dislike, comment, subscribe. And this is JStro60, and I'll see you guys next week. And I cannot wait for next week. So up until then, take care.